So here is a chart of Cardano. It's a coin I had never heard of before. It's very interesting. This was requested by Dan Paulson. Cardano symbol is ADA, and I'll be happy to do the analysis. So I couldn't find this chart on TradingView, so I captured the chart, and since I couldn't do the labeling on where I found the chart, I then copy and pasted it onto a PowerPoint, which is what you're seeing here. I pre-labeled everything because doing everything manually by PowerPoint takes quite a while. Didn't want to do it while I'm taking the video, so here it goes. Again, this is a very good case of using Elliott waves and chart pattern recognition. So I counted here 5 wave impulse, and wave 5 was almost so wave 5 was almost extended, but clearly still it was not exactly that much longer than that of 3. If it was double the size, that would be a real extension of wave 5. So in looking at that, I really wasn't that probably concerned to see a retrace that was really about the same as where the price region of wave 4 was. So here's a clear impulse, obeying all the rules of Elliott wave analysis. And what are those rules? Wave 1 and 2 has a relationship, and that is the bottom of wave 2 cannot equal the start of wave 1. Check on that. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest amongst 1, 3, and 5. Clearly it isn't. The bottom of wave 4 cannot overlap with the top of wave 1. It's far from it. And wave 5 really just has to have the 5-wave impulse, as you can see here. So it's placed the 5 waves and it's done the correction. Now the correction, to me, this is a classic zigzag. I see 5 subwaves in the A, so this is A wave, and the 5 subwaves are A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a 3-wave B, 1, 2, 3. And then the C wave always has 5 waves, 5 subwaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what happens after an ABC correction? There's a trend change. And that trend change can be very, gentle, or it could be very explosive. And we've seen both in the analyses that I've done so far. And this is more of the gentle type. So here's wave 1 and here's wave 2. And then what's after wave 2 is wave 3. And this is what I call a nested 1, 2, where I have 1, 2, and then wave 3 starting. And this is wave 1 and 2 of 3. So these are of lesser degree than these two. That is why I call it nested. And basically, if you look at the chart pattern, I drew a line across the bottoms of this and just forward discerned the rest of this. So I think the wave 3 will go to maybe to the region of where the prior wave 5 was. On 3.5 cents or so, let's say. And if that's the case, 4 will probably be the formation of this handle. So I can see wave 3 going here. See if I can do this by freehand. Wave 3, and then you might see ABC of 4 here, and then it takes off like that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, this will be 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 5 will probably be the wave that'll give a new all-time high. Okay, so as I mentioned to you in the prior posts, there are two primary types of patterns. One is that of these symmetrical triangles that are right now exploding like popcorns. It's going. I'm hearing pop, pop, pop. I think BTS is popping, Verge is popping, PCH already started its popping process. So you can get these symmetrical triangles, and the other pattern is what you see here, cup and handle. And the synchronicity of all of this is such that it's not 100% correlated one-to-one. It's not correlated, I mean, price to price, note to note. But think of it as a whole bunch of people on a marathon starting line. I always wonder how the guy in the back could ever win. But every one of them will cross the finish line. It's just not all at the same time. That would be pretty silly. That'll look pretty silly. Well, it's no different here. Not every altcoin will at the same time pop. Imagine if you were popping popcorn and they all popped at once. That'll be weird. So it's no different here. The reality of it is that they all have their own timing, but there is a cluster of timing. And within that cluster of timing band, it is within a band because the patterns are of very similar types. And when the similarity index is very high with maybe only 1, 2, or 3 or 4 species of pattern, in this case mostly 2 species, cup and handle and symmetrical triangles. And given that, the uniformity of this would be pretty amazing on how everything carries almost at the same time within a cluster. Think of it as a dot matrix, or or a bell curve rather. Okay, the bell curve shows that there is a distribution, and the distribution of these altcoins popping. If you measure the timing of popcorn popping in any random handful or cup of corn kernels, the time it takes, you'll see actually a distribution similar to or equal to a bell curve. Not many will be outside of the 2 standard deviations. It could happen. Some could be outside as many as 3 standard deviations. Now in the equities, I have seen some crazy, even 5 standard deviation outliers. But that doesn't last more than a few hours to a day even. So that's actually one of the indicators that I would use in equities. They're so heavily manipulated by bots as well as central banks and the PPT, such that when you see something that is so stretched out into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th standard deviations, if it's on a down, you buy that. If it's on up, you short it. Because that kind of 5% or less of bell curve standard deviation region does not last because it is not sustainable. But for Bitcoins here, for the altcoins here, everything is within a 1-2 standard deviation band, and that's pretty normal. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, please let me know.